Hello and welcome to So Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fan cast by a fervent fan.
And a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay. And
this is the story So Farscape. Previously on Farscape. Oh no, hold on. It's Rigel that does it this time. Previously on Farscape.
Yes, we have been on the planet of the breakaway Sebastians, who are trying to broker a peace, or at least maintain a delicate balance between the Scarrans on one side and the Peacekeepers on the other, which again, to me, suggests that the Peacekeepers is more of a government, really, rather than just the organization of thugs that I still think it should be. I mean,
wait, what do you mean?
I mean, why do they call themselves the Peacekeepers if they're not like a peacekeeping force, which is usually in the service of something or someone rather than a government on its own?
So here's some interesting stuff that we've learned. By the way, we're doing Look at the Princess, Part 3. We'll get to the summaries, but
the Maltese Crichton.
I'm really excited to sort of geek out with you. So piecing together some stuff that we've learned, one of them is that the Peacekeepers were hired by the new sort of dictator of Delvia, as we recall.
His tenure was up. Instead of yielding control, he and the other conservative Paos hired the Peacekeepers for external security. Our world changed forever.
Zahn was mind-banging Bital, who refused to give up his power at the end of his term, and instead hired the Peacekeepers to enforce his rule.
So I guess that is just a bit of a mercenary army that they also are.
Right. So what does that mean when you're talking about Peacekeeper territory? Maybe this is the area where they have exclusive contracts, where they have a monopoly on this kind of peacekeeping contract.
Which they probably enforce with their own forces.
Yeah, so, or sometimes by planting certain vegetables.
So they're a little bit of a mafia organization, really.
What does space politics even look like?
Oh, true.
Okay, yeah. So we have summaries.
Oh, we do, right. Thank you to all our listeners for sending in the synopses. We always enjoy reading these.
Where would we be without them? I can't believe that we relied on like BBC synopses previously when our listeners are so brilliant. We love our scuttle buddies.
Billy Roberts says, in the thrilling conclusion, Crichton loses his head and must join together to save a member of the team. Plus, Aaron must come to a hard truth. Finally, Zahn has a final face-off with John Hardy.
Good job, Billy Roberts. We have another one from Wookiee. Yay. John does his best impression of the bourgeoisie during the French Revolution. Zahn flirts with Deicide. Nice. Dargo tries out for the NFL by showcasing his open field tackle.
Yes.
Aaron drags her emotional baggage across the field. This is great. Yes. And Crichton and Aaron share a joyful smile.
Oh,
this is fantastic.
It is. Thank you, Wookiee.
Yeah, we're talking about Look at the Princess, Part 3, the Maltese Crichton. Like, I have been... Okay, I know how often I talk about that. I've been really excited to see a particular episode.
Yes.
I didn't feel that for Look at the Princess, because I know it's good. Right? This is what I think of when I think of Farscape in its maturity.
So we've arrived at the mature stage now.
For a while. Okay. Like, there have been these fantastic highlights already with, like, a Nerve and the Hidden Memory. Like, that was Farscape all grown up.
Right, yes.
And so I knew it would be good. And I had just forgotten how good Farscape can be when it really commits to these stories. I mean, I've talked before about how glad I am that they... You can say padded out these episodes from a 2-parter to a 3-parter, really given room to breathe and spend some time developing these characters in maybe less stressful situations or like...
I mean, there's a lot of stressful situations going on. So just a quick recap. John is genetically compatible with the princess and they must rule together. He gets strong-armed into that by the Empress because she says, marry my daughter or otherwise I'm going to give you to Scorpius. He learns that after the marriage they have to spend 80 years standing as statues in the Senate Hall to observe politics and learn, and then they will rule. The princess's brother has poisoned her DNA in order to make her incompatible with everybody so that he can rule himself. However, John, being human, is still compatible with the princess.
Yeah.
This is all being masterminded on one side by a Scarran ambassador who is on the prince's side and another peacekeeper envoy who is also trying to work on the prince, trying to marry her and get herself set up as the next ruler.
So I caught something in the previously on
Farscape.
Something that we skipped over. Like, her job is to stay close to Clavor and if he ascends the throne,
kill him. Yes, I caught that.
Yeah.
Not quite sure how that's supposed to work out, but because then there would be another power vacuum, I guess. Someone else would step in, so I don't really see what the idea behind that was. But I like that character.
Yeah, so, Genevian.
Yes.
Genavian Chatto, Disruptor, Peacekeeper Special Directorate.
We finished the last episode after a brief sojourn to an orbiting spacecraft that came under attack due to John's near-suicidal refusal to be recaptured by Scorpius via Lieutenant Braca, who finally has a name. And he had such a lovely outfit. He had a cool leather spacesuit.
Meanwhile, Moya, with only Zahn on board, and pilot, of course, are dealing with the creators of the Leviathans.
Yeah, the builders, in the form of Space Caligula, as you named him. Welsh Space Caligula.
Yes, the Romans made it to Wales. Yeah, they just never got north of Hadrian's Wall, so that's entirely well possible. Who has decided that since Moya can now produce gunships,
Moya must be decommissioned.
She must die, and has basically told her to shut down, which also is going to kill Pilot, leaving Zahn stranded there and having to deal with the situation.
So let's resolve these plots in... we can resolve that one the easiest, and then we don't have to skip back and forth.
Very good.
Because we ended with Moya's life being ended by the builders because they had decided she's capable of breeding gunships, and that's not what they intended for the universe.
And Pilot is also slowly dying because of this, because he's, of course, connected to Moya. Zahn says a bit of a farewell to him, and then really doesn't do much more than shout at the deity, Caligula.
Kahenu! I will speak with you now!
Has a
he has a name, but it doesn't matter. It's not really.
It doesn't matter.
Cool. And we next see her in the maintenance bay, fiddling with John's module, and Caligula appears once again and says,
You should use one of Moya's transport pods instead of that little one.
They're much better, but she has her own reasons for fiddling with John's little ship.
I mean, it's a little bit of compassion from Caligula's side, we have decided that Moya's life must end, not yours.
You're right, yes, he's being very adamant that she should leave. She, on the other hand, has something else planned, because she's working with the DRDs and kicks the engine on.
In reverse.
Which starts to...
It's gone from blow to suck.
Which starts to suck this god.
Stop this!
Who is always like kind of cloudily manifesting. I really loved how they did that scene where he's just kind of like floating around. His nethers are always enshrouded in smoke, and you can't really see. He's always lit from above by a very bright light, like he's really
he's just in this
a divine apparition. Who's apparently not immune to air currents, because he gets slowly sucked into the engine, and Zahn decides, well, screw you. I'm going to try to demand that you undo this, that you revive Moya, or at least rescue Pilot.
Spare Moya's life and I will spare yours, showing the hardcore side of her that she hasn't completely shared.
No.
I beg you.
How does it feel for your prayers to go unanswered, Kahenu?
Caligula doesn't give in and gets sucked into the engine and disappears.
Zahn immediately has a little bit of regret, in my rage, what have I done?
Yes, she goes, I've killed a god. It's not my god, so I guess that's not such a bad thing.
He was very generous. I am Moya's deity, not yours.
Yes.
So, Jonathan Hardy had a lot of fun with this.
I can imagine.
And also, he and Terry Ryan, the costume designer, go way back. As he described it, Terry Ryan and I have known each other since 1421 when I was a boy. And the last time that he dressed me, I don't know what pronouns Terry uses, but the last time that Hardy was dressed by Terry Ryan, it was for Pope Joan. And so he was he read the script, it's this gaseous creature, but then he already decided on the Welsh performance when he got this metal laurel wreath and this sort of spherical body shape and these cuffs and,
Roman Welsh, I guess we have.
And he loved being lit from above, and they put him on a little trolley so he didn't have to walk.
So they could just push him around.
Exactly.
I mean, it adds to the whole floating deity effect.
Yeah. And then when the module is powered up and he gets sucked through, he actually sort of shrinks a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, what a world! What a world!
It's kind of like goes a little bit Ghostbusters there. But yes, next time we see Zahn, she is administering last rites to Pilot, I believe.
May the goddess recognize the gentleness of your spirit and guide you to your ancestors.
Yes.
She's dabbing a little bit of one of her oils onto the bridge of his nose.
Yeah, anointing his body. And Caligula appears once again because, surprise!
Yes, apparently getting sucked into jet engines is not fatal for gods. I mean, Firefly did it better with the whole jet engine thing, although Mal had a very different attitude to throwing people into engines, just by basically kicking him in.
Yeah. But I guess an elemental creature isn't so easily cowed. But he is very impressed.
Right, because apparently he was putting Zaan to a test.
The test was never for Moya or even for Pilot. It was for Zaan.
Which still seems a bit odd, because he should have known that there are other people also on board of Moya, normally speaking.
I guess whoever's, like... The only person aboard a ship is the captain, almost by default, right?
Fair point.
And it's the intergalactic you touched it last doctrine.
And yes, he is now allows Moya to revive, because he has seen that Zaan's responsibility towards Moya not being allowed to create a whole fleet of gunships is strong enough that they're apparently willing to run this risk.
She would die or kill to protect Moya, and she wouldn't abuse Moya for her own gain.
No.
And, it's a bit of a relief, but Zaan doesn't back down.
No.
We are confident that you will protect Moya vigorously against those who seek to exploit her. You are worthy of that responsibility.
If that is so, then I demand you leave this ship immediately.
As you wish.
Like, okay, so I'm in charge again. Get the fuck out.
Yes.
We are not cool.
No, we are definitely not cool. I'm not happy with what you put me through. Thank you for bringing Moya and the Pilot back, but fuck off.
They never tell the crew, though.
No, they don't. They don't tell them what happened.
They've erased the logs, and they're not saying...
And the crew just goes like, they were probably lost and they wouldn't want to admit to it.
They have other things on their minds. I think maybe the second plot that we can handle, if we're going to jump around and like tie these loose ends, is Erin. Because Erin doesn't interact with the main plot at all.
No, she is off with her new buddy with the surfer hair and the and the Australian accent.
Dragon Casanova, cousin to the crown.
And they
Dragon,
are... Yes. Yeah. Erin declined to be present at the wedding.
Yeah.
And instead she went off exploring the Badlands with her new buddy, who is like very eager to please her.
Everything I've suggested since the moment we met, you've consented to.
They've all been good ideas.
Which she comments on when they are somewhere at the cliffs near the beach or something, and they're going rock climbing.
You always disagreeable?
And she's just bristling because...
Right, she's like, a little bit of more pushback would be nice.
Yeah. Like, she's always so irritated at John, like, not agreeing with her every whim, but it really kind of sucks when...
Someone does agree with you every whim.
Yeah.
So they decide to go climbing. She asks him, like, are you a good climber? He was rated excellent. And
so confident.
Right, and they go up the cliffs.
And...
We're too high.
What?
It's a little high for him.
Yes.
He's a little...
I thought you were rated excellent. Yes, that was in the training center. And
this is your first wall?
Yes. Oops.
I like that. And she doesn't denigrate him. She doesn't humiliate him or anything like that.
She immediately goes into, okay, time to get down from here.
Problem solved.
Yep.
Okay, just give me your hand. And he gives her his hand. Gosh, that's a lot of pronouns.
She tries to pull him up, but he starts panicking, and the pair of them
Hold
fall.
On. No, to the wall, not to my leg.
Yes.
No, not my leg, the wall. Hold on to the wall.
And they both go tumbling down.
Okay, now, do you know anything about rock climbing and securing lines?
Yeah.
Is any of that supposed to happen?
The falling part, it does, but those lines should have been tied off so short that they would have fallen and dangled a few meters down from the point. It
seemed like a very long fall.
Yes, that was way too long.
We didn't actually see them hit the ground, but it may very well be possible that they just smacked against the wall. They are in dire straits, though.
Yes.
Dragon is laid out on a stretcher.
Injured, unable to sit, stand, or walk. Erin manages to splint her own leg and find some dead branches.
There's blood on her outfit, by the way. So the bone was sticking out. She just wedged it back in there with a bit of stick to lengthen the...
To make it stronger and give some support.
Cool, by the way.
Sorry?
Those outfits were cool.
Yeah, they were pretty nice. They were
all
like
white,
which doesn't seem very practical for rock climbing.
Well, in the Australian heat, you'd be very grateful for... Wait, what does the colour matter for rock climbing?
I assume that white clothes get dirtied very easily when you're climbing rocks.
Here's some more.
Some more what?
Clothes to be cleaned.
Oh, no problem. Room for us both?
No, I want you to wash these.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, so this was filmed in 2 locations north of Sydney, and one of them I had a note of that. One of them is called Cunell, which is a notorious body dumping ground.
Oh, geez.
Where
As in, just people. If you're in the Australian mafia, that's where you go dump your bodies.
That's what it said when I did the research.
Okay,
that's so grim.
Very peculiar.
I mean, you saw the waves smashing against those rocks.
True.
I guess that's a convenient,
good way of getting rid
alibi.
of them. Yeah. Ooh.
So they have to trek through the barren lands with Dragon complaining and Aaron yelling at him. And I guess she's getting out of this what she wanted, like a high-stakes distraction.
Right.
Don't leave me.
Don't tempt me!
She's just like basically soldiering on, and he's constantly talking to her that like she knows how to deal with pain and hardship, but not with emotional pain and hardship. And he's really the...
he's being Chiana, like
a little bit,
very, very insightful, and sort of explains to her, what is feelings? What is this? Feelings? Well, it really sucks. You never get inured to the hurt of an emotional wound because it hurts a friend. Well, why would anyone want that?
Oh, because for the good times.
Yeah.
Because of all the days before it hurts. The good days. When you're in love.
Yeah.
And yes, I guess she does a little bit of emotional growing there, or at least learning to give those feelings a place.
She learns an important lesson from Dragon that I don't know why she's willing to accept it from him, because he's kind of disposable to her. You know, he was a bit of a distraction, and they're going to go their own way. I mean, she is clearly saving his life, but there's nobody else around. I guess that allows her to...
Yeah, it gives her a plot a good point to allow her to recover, basically, from the interactions that they've been having between John and Aaron, who have been like on and off, very much so. John being, of course, in trouble for having to become the ruler of this, or the regent of this planet.
Very good.
And she being attracted to him, jealous, I suppose.
Yeah, she's all over the place.
Yeah.
Like she. So now it comes together very well why she's been so like indecisive. She doesn't want John to go through with this marriage, but she won't give him any alternatives. She doesn't have any.
No.
She won't even say that she, like the last time, you could run away, and he says,
With you?
and she won't say yes.
No.
Just with all of us.
Yeah, which was the wrong answer. And at the point, John goes like, well, screw you, I'm staying here, safe from Scorpius here. And he's still terrified of Scorpius.
Yeah. It's all at play. Like, he's at a point where he needs more certainty about the alternatives that he's facing, because they're all so uncertain. And so Dragon's advice is, tell him how you feel. And she asks him, like, what good would that do? He's already statue. Yeah, but then you'll know that he knows.
Yes, because he can hear and see. And
that's the last thing he says. And she spends the night, because they have to camp out in the barren lands. She spends that night thinking about that. Like, that just him knowing how she feels is actually important to her. And I think she spent a lot of time like thinking how to express that, because even at the very end, after all the A plot is resolved, they haven't met. They meet again in the maintenance bay.
They're working on the Farscape unit, I believe.
That's what John comes there to do. Erin's just like, she's working out, she's doing PT,
right?
Where apparently like the surgical reconstructors have done a good job on her leg, and you can never tell that it's broken, says Anne, and she's not talking to him.
No,
which he interprets, I think, as coldness, but I think, like, she's still trying to work out how to say how she feels, because that's the thing that she wants to do now.
And it ends up with the little space poppers, I believe.
Yes, okay, that's what your boyfriend called them. Yeah. Who, once again, your boyfriend has watched a few of these episodes with us, and they're always the freaking weird ones. Because crackers don't matter, and out of their minds, and now also only part 3. And each time I tell him, it's always like this. Like, I wish we could have even gaslighted him and pretended that this wasn't a part 3, that this is just how the series goes.
There's a previously on Farscape at the beginning.
Sort of gave it away.
But yeah,
it's like an extra level of innocence. He's like K squared.
So she has brought one of those little vials back with her.
Because apparently that's how she's chosen to communicate how she feels. She holds it out, offers it to him, and it's a completely silent scene. Yeah. It's beautiful.
They do the little kiss.
Yeah, touch tongues,
kiss, and then there's a little bit of, I don't know, it's ambiguity, I suppose, is the best word.
Oh, that ending was so good, because they part lips, and she turns around, and she smiles, and he smiles, but they don't see each other
smiling, no.
So they clearly tasted, there is genetic compatibility there.
Yeah, they're a good match, and they both went, okay, so I guess it's a basis to work from. It still leaves a lot unsaid, of course, but...
That's good melodrama. Okay, so we have these major plot arcs figured out. Now we can get to the adventure part, because that's the meat and potatoes of this episode, and I loved it.
So it starts off with a few people standing in the chamber of statues, I suppose, where they're commenting on John's pose, and Dargo and Rigel are there to say their goodbyes to John.
Dargo and Chiana, because Rigel is intending to stay.
Yes, he's planning on becoming an advisor, and
apparently he has no problem just waiting 80 years until they come out, because he'll need an advisor, and the food's good.
Yep.
I don't know if he's sort of forgotten about reclaiming Hyneria, or he's a very long-lived species, so maybe 80 years is
maybe he figures that he can use this for making his plot back. Once he's
yes.
once he's buddy-buddy with the ruler of this, he figures that might be a good way to get back towards the Hynerian Empire.
Oh, and you saw him at the wedding as well. I smell power again.
Yes.
He's missed it. He wants his fix.
And maybe he just realizes that odds are against him being able to reclaim Hyneria, and he figures, well, this is pretty good too.
There is it's not exactly a goodbye scene between John and Dargo and Chiana, but it is. Like, they don't literally say goodbye, but this is probably going to be one of the last conversations, because we fade out.
Yeah, they have this communicator which allows them to talk to, or at least hear what the statues say.
It looked like a pocket calculator.
It did a bit with a headband attached to it. Yes, the prop department was, oh shit, we need something.
Oh, speaking of the prop department, this statue of John Crichton was at the head of the stairs at the Jim Henson Creature Workshop for years.
Wow, that's fantastic.
What an awful thing to have to look at, but also a wonderful creation.
True. What about what happened to the statue of the princess?
I don't know. I imagine it's not so iconic. I don't know if they stored it.
Yeah, who knows? It might just be around in the background shots of other movies when they decided they'd need a statue, and it was like, oh, we've got one standing around. It's the kind of thing it's the kind of thing you keep, so you can always put it in the back somewhere else.
So I'm wondering about that. Wouldn't you want to keep the molds? Because the material might decay, and the molds are also in components and easier to store.
Depends on how they were made. I can't imagine that they cast them out of actual bronze. It's probably fiberglass or something like that.
Oh, yeah. We get to find out shortly, because into this throne room, which is the same room as the conversation room where you can... Oh, yes! Haha! It's mentioned by Councillor Tyno that the acoustics of
this chamber funnel all sounds to them.
Every word being spoken in the chamber can be heard by them.
Which may explain why it's so hard for people in other parts of the room to hear conversations.
Okay.
Being generous.
The same sense. Cut to the same room at night, where the prince is having a little bit of a pissy fit.
Phil! I'm gonna topple this statue! I should be regent!
He's having a little conniption. He's so whiny.
I was supposed to be here. This is like
supposed to be me. And he tries to punch Crichton in his face, and obviously he's bronze, so he hurts his little hand.
But the Scarran ambassador drags out his lightsaber, chops off John's head. And
I thought that weapons weren't allowed, but suddenly he's got a wrist laser.
Yeah, and he's got his other thing. I guess that's a natural power that he has. But apparently, I was really, again, considering the security on this planet and how tight they are with everything, that Scarran ambassador got away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and Scorpius was banished, and he's still there.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's because he was meant to leave within a day after the ceremony.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But when in the morning it is discovered that the statue's head has been removed, the planet is locked down, nobody leaves, and every foreigner will be executed if this problem isn't solved.
And yet they all still have the run of the palace.
Yes.
Okay, so the borders are closed, but you're not detaining the 3 people that you really suspect.
That you're going to execute.
Yeah, because the last time that Her Majesty threatened to have off-worlders executed, she did indeed execute all of them.
Yep.
Because with his wrist laser, Sastaretsky Kargan, the Scarran, has chopped off Crichton's head.
Yes. So apparently the statues can be reassembled. Getting your head chopped off is not a big problem. As long as you have most of the pieces, then the machine will just reconstitute them back into a proper person.
Very impressive.
My great-grandfather was broken in half when the Senate collapsed after a ground shaker. All he suffered was a severe limp.
Yeah, how that works, I don't know, because we see that the head is hollow.
Yes.
So somehow every one of his cells has been squeezed into,
I mean, it's already been transmuted into different matter, so maybe the weight's still the same.
We get to that shortly, because they go down to Foundry The foundry? Yeah,
I suppose so, yeah.
A pit of foundry acid
That looks
they
like
have
it.
conveniently lying around.
Yeah, there's like fire everywhere and a big tub of boiling acid, which they throw the head in because apparently, they have to like actually destroy it so that John cannot be revived properly.
Yeah, there's the Scarran is about to throw it in when Clavor grabs the head and slams it down on the edge, and he sneers a little bit.
I know you can hear me, Crichton, and I know you're scared.
Tips him into the boiling acid where...
In which the bronze head floats. Yeah.
So...
Weird.
Not quite sure exactly what's going on here, but oh no, bad news.
Yes, and so in the morning, everybody in the palace is in panic because now there is a threat of all the foreigners being executed.
Poor little Rigel.
Right,
He's so worried.
He is. I mean, Rigel being both uncharacteristically helpful and is still being useless in this episode, I noticed.
Yeah. They're all standing around being worried. Oh, they're out of their wedding outfits. They're all back in their own clothes, including Rigel, who I thought looked really nice in pink. And so did Chiana.
Yeah.
You look great in pink. Brings out your eyes.
However, down in the foundry level, Scorpius has, because he has genetically sampled John...
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
He can apparently track this bronze head down into the foundry level, fishes it out of the acid, and...
With another fun shinty stick.
Yes. Which kind of looks also like what they make the hairpieces from the girls out of.
Yes, it's the sort of wafer kind of construction, and it dissolves in the background while Scorpius, he's he's smug, he's a little menacing, he's intimate with John.
Yeah, because apparently he knows a way to extract the information from this as well. He doesn't get far, however, because he gets shot by an unseen assailant.
So Scorpius walking around with a severed head, hears a funny noise, goes,
Who's there?
Who's there?
Who's there? And then he gets blasted in the chest.
Yep.
But we soon find out who it was that did that, because it is revealed to be Genevian Charto. She is the disruptor.
Yes.
Who was embedded as a spy as Clavor's consort.
Yes, who was going to refuse to marry him unless he was actually going to be crowned.
Yeah, to stay close to him, because her main objective throughout all this is to keep the Scarrans at bay.
Disrupt the dynasty, I think, because I'm not quite sure what the plan is. If she wants the princess in there, or if she...
it was in the first conversation, in the second episode. Her mission is to prevent Clavor from ascending. That's it.
Right.
That's the whole of her mission. And she assumes that John's mission is to stay close to Katrala and get her to side with the peacekeepers and invite them into these breakaway colonies.
Right.
She's doing an assist for what she thinks is a fellow disruptor.
But after she reassembles the statue and brings John back to life, she learns that he is not Sebastian. Therefore, he is not Peacekeeper.
If you're not Peacekeeper, you're not Special Directorate. If you're not Special Directorate, you can't be a disruptor.
Yes.
Therefore, I'm not supporting your mission anymore. As I'm going full on ahead with my mission.
She's taken him to a deserted location to save him from another assassination attempt. But of course, in the meantime, that's only increasing the sort of paranoia that the Empire is under, because their whole regent is now missing. First it was just the head, now the rest of him too.
Yes. The prince and the Scarran ambassador are having a little stroll through the betrayal garden.
They have a bit of a close confrontation, and gosh, I felt so bad for the person. Oh, I forgot his name. I think I said it last time.
The actor playing the ambassador?
Yes, who also played the Kidva previously, because this was in the middle of Australian summer, in the middle of the sun.
In some sort of ornamental garden.
Yes, the Chinese Gardens of Sydney.
Ah.
Lovely, lovely location. But yeah, well, an absolute nightmare. And to have... Imagine being in that nightmarish anxiety chamber with whirring servos all around you and just... really impressive animatronics as well. Like the interactions between Clavor and the Scarran are fantastic.
Kargan, we're through. Everything you said would pass as not.
A scene later results in the Scarran ambassador deciding, you have served your... Oh, wait, hold on.
Well, okay,
Why does he do that again?
So the prince wants to get rid of the Scarran ambassador. It was like, your and my goals are no longer aligned. And the Scarran ambassador says, like, you don't decide when our partnership is over. I decide when our partnership is over.
Because there's some more investigating to be done. Because while John and Genevieve and Charto are, well, they're getting a little bit closer. Like, he's convinced her not to kill him, when she's got her wrist blade to his neck, off screen during a commercial break. Apparently, he does the whole story so Farscape,
right?
Which she described as either the most
pathetic fabrication I've ever heard, or the most pathetic life I could ever imagine. Either way.
Oh, look, they're on some whacked out antecedents to a chick with a stiletto in her wrist.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
he tells her about how he's from Earth and how he's been traveling with Moya, and she now, of course, realizes the truth with him and Scorpius, that he's not working for Scorpius, but that Scorpius is after him
because she was the one who shot Scorpius, not to kill him. She says this was a little bit weird. Leave bodies around and they start looking for a killer. Yeah. There was a vat of acid right there, babe.
Yeah, that seemed like it. Although at the end, I get the impression that Scorpius isn't concerned about acid because he literally dips his fingers and he flicks it off casually. So he seems to be fairly non-susceptible to it.
He's found Dargo, or actually he arranged to meet Dargo. Thank you for meeting me, he says, when they meet in the club.
Scorpius does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was a really strange way of interacting, those two.
Yeah, right.
Apparently they decided that, we're aligned now. We both don't want to get killed, and therefore...
Both of us don't want to get killed, and we want to find John. And then after that, we have separate ideas. Like, Dargo wants to keep John safe, but they're also, like, neither of them is in a position to really enforce their will.
No.
Scorpius, as he says, I'm unarmed, I have no accompaniment.
So now we're allies. Effectively, yes.
We're just dudes, so let's pit our resources together.
So they're standing here in the middle of the club, plotting out loud, when the Scarran ambassador shows up. And everybody starts grandstanding, shouting out their plans to everybody where they can hear it.
I commend your plan. Having an agent marry the princess. How did you defeat my DNA alterations of her?
Scorpius is not in league with Crichton. We despise him.
It's like a high school drama where they're just over here because I was standing on the other side of the locker door.
Yes.
And the solution to that is to yell your plan even louder. Dargo, have you not read Sun Tzu? Well, whatever.
But yes, also the fact that none of the locals seem to be... Like you said, nobody's under house arrest, nobody's being guarded. Everybody can just go around and make their plans, despite the emperors having decided that they might all be executed. Yeah. And like this... Their security is rubbish.
Kargan heat tortures Dargo, which, interestingly, does he lie?
I don't think it's heat torturing. It does that heat shimmering effect.
It's the heat haze, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it's actual heat. But yeah.
I agree. Like, the fans were quite divided at this point, whether it was just heat. I mean, it would make sense for Sebaceans, who are very sensitive to heat.
True.
And he does... Claybor is eventually killed with this natural ability that Scarrans have, and it does look like he's been toasted. But heat alone doesn't make you so susceptible.
No, I guess not.
Because one of the things that Dargo lets slip is he doesn't know where Crichton is.
Either, no.
Chiana thinks she does, but... And he doesn't get to finish his sentence because now Kargan and Scorpius have decided they're going to have a race to find the Nabari.
Yes.
It is a race. I am winning.
Scorpius would do very well in wacky races. I mean...
Yes.
Or maybe even one of those, the Great Race, or those magnificent men in their flying machines. I mean, I can totally see him.
Or it's a mad world. Was that one too many? Ooh,
maybe.
So tricky.
I recently saw a photo of that actor made up to look like...
Terry Thomas, you mean?
Yes, made up to look as Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh,
so
wow, that would work.
Yeah, it's uncanny how much they can be made to look like each other.
Well, I mean, look at this. Yeah. Scorpius was made into Grand Moff Tarkin. That was Wayne Pygram. He played Grand Moff Tarkin at the end of Star Wars Episode 3.
What was it? I thought at the end of Episode 3... Oh, that was actually him. Sorry.
That was Wayne, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
With makeup by Dave Elsey, who also made the Scorpius makeup. So he knew...
okay. I thought they did that digitally.
You're thinking of Rogue One.
Oh, right. That's it. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Where they got an actor whose name escapes me, but he was a fantastic impersonator and facially remodeled him digitally. But in Star Wars Episode 3, it was
actually him. Okay,
Wayne
so
Pygram with
that makes sense then.
Dave Elsey makeup, like the whole family. It's so good. So this race is won by... Oh, no, we first have a fun little interaction between Dargo and Rydell. Rydell is so scared. He's got the scared hiccups again.
Yes, he was decided to go find Chiana, but then he was so nervous that he had to go eat, but then he was too nervous to eat.
And then there's this cool moment of bonding where, like, Dargo asks him, I need your help to find Chiana.
Yeah.
And he says...
I'll float above the streets for a better view.
Yes!
And Dargo is like, righteous,
Thank you.
righteous, teamwork.
We'll find her.
Says Rigel. He's so determined. This is amazing.
Yeah, that's just it. He was being like uncharacteristically helpful and extremely useless at the same time.
Yeah, we never, unfortunately, get to see him hovering over the streets.
No, we haven't even seen any streets yet. It's just a few select shots.
But the race has been won by Kargan, who's walking through the Garden of Betrayal, carrying an unconscious Chiana over his shoulders. No big deal.
No, this is where the prince shows up again.
He says that their relationship is dissolved because he's going to ascend the throne, but through no help of Kargan's.
Yes, so therefore I'm like not honoring our agreement.
Says Kargan, in that case,
you are of no use to me.
I have one final question for you, duplicitous Prince Clavor. Do you know that, as promised, I am about to kill you?
No.
And kills him with his death ray, whatever.
Death ray, heat ray. Crichton has meanwhile been, like...
Frelling the secret agent.
Yeah. After she decided not to kill him, now the next thing we see is them skinny dipping in a moonlit pond.
Right, yes, there's some serious outmaking going on.
Yeah. Now, so...
I didn't get that. I didn't see why that suddenly happened, how this was...
Why is John interested in this? Like,
yes.
Okay, so they can't go back to the palace because the local fauna becomes carnivorous at night.
Yes. Apparently the fish don't because they're swimming, but...
Yeah, and apparently not in the barren lands either because that's where...
that's where they're barren, you know.
Dragon... Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I want you to have this.
She gives him a weapon, like one of her ostentatious jewels is actually a pulse pistol, blaster or whatever. A little stuns, a lot kills.
Kills, yes.
I mean, you could say that about most things.
I suppose so, yes.
Those sort of, maybe not space poppers, but there are some things where a little stuns or a little's fun and a lot kills.
Ooh. I mean, everything is deadly in big enough quantities.
I'm really curious how you felt about this sojourn into romance between Crichton and Jenna.
I thought it was weird. I didn't understand John's motivation into doing this other than just trying to bang his way into her good graces. But that doesn't seem... It seems weird that she is also... amenable to it.
Into it. Yeah. Yes, they're both hot.
Of course, but she's a professional. She specifically says, my job is everything.
Yeah.
I'm completely dedicated to my job, and I don't really see how this really helps.
See, okay, we're getting ahead of the Willies and Woodies, but I'm with you. I don't love it. So I read a little bit about it. Like, Ben Browder was really surprised that the fan base wasn't freaking out about him essentially cheating on...
Right,
Like, not that they'd made commitments, but that it wasn't a huge scandal or a mark against Crichton's character, but that it was largely accepted. And I do believe that, David Kemper wrote that the studio or the network had requested some more sexy scenes and romance.
Okay, so that it just went, okay, well, we've got this hot Sebastian here. Let's just throw them together at a midnight campout. And everything that comes from that when two healthy, beautiful young people spend the night in a tent together.
I figured that they could have just had another sex scene with Chi and Tentacles, because...
Right.
Oof. They've certainly been having a lot of fun there.
Right, and they're like very intimate and they've really grown together.
When we return to the palace, Crichton is back in black. He's back in his leathers.
Yes.
Genevieve is back in her outfit as well, with her hair all did up.
But she doesn't have her neck piece, which is now the stun pistol that John has.
I guess he stuffed it down his pants. Like
I guess codpiece.
The ceremonial codpiece.
Cock rocket.
And they're each going to go their own way.
They're going into the chamber, but she tells him to let her go ahead so she can prepare the situation before he barges on in, because they're planning to throw the whole plot open wide.
What I meant by them going their own way was like they're each back on their own mission. They know that this was a brief like vergence of their plots and life, trajectories, because she even offers him the vial.
Oh yes.
Before we go in, do you want to?
Yeah.
He doesn't even take it.
No.
Like, we're not compatible. Like that was a one night. That was a one night fling.
Yep.
And she digs it.
You
always know the right thing to say.
Yes. And
sometimes
the wrong person to the wrong person, yes. Her plans, however, are rapidly foiled, or at least made moot, because the prince is dead, and she is like being tearful and dramatic about it.
Do you think that this is the first time she found out about it? Because
yes. Because she was out with John when it happened.
I know, but she's been back long enough to do up her hair and get dressed. And she is an intelligence agent.
True.
It's not established, but maybe that's why she wanted to go in first. Give me a chance to get the wet work started, because...
Okay, that makes sense.
The waterworks take a few minutes to charge up,
Right.
you know?
I've grieved with the best of them.
Plus, having John show up immediately would completely derail that and draw attention away from that. So she wants to, she gets her thing done first. That makes sense. Ryder's gone like, well, can't you see that the Scarran did it? And he goes, of course the Empress knows that the Scarran did it. But, the last time she threatened to execute the Offworlders, she executed all the Offworlders.
The death of two members of the royal family cannot go unanswered.
No.
Crichton, walks in. You're only half right.
Yes.
You will all be arrested and executed.
I feel compelled to disagree with the Empress on that decision. Crichton! Hey, Sparky.
Oh, thank the spirits.
Oh, he looks fantastic in his leathers. His steely eyes.
Sorry about your prince, but I hear he deserved it.
He's mean about Clavor so that Genevian has a chance to smack him in the face with another Batman sound effect. Whack.
Yeah. This seemed very premeditated between the two of them, even though not much came from this whole interaction.
Yeah, she has a reason to storm out, and so does Crichton, who is going to solve this mystery.
I'm assuming my execution is off.
Yes, so somehow they know about the foundry, because, I don't know, I missed how that was exactly...
Dargo and Scorpius
haven't
are
teamed
still...
up, are still looking for Chiana, yes.
And Scorpius has been down to the foundry before, and it seems like a likely place to dispose of a body, but...
Makes sense, yeah.
Instead of having disposed of her, Kargan, for some reason...
dangles her above the vat of acid.
Like he's the Riddler.
So I do believe this was the scene that Gigi was referring to the last time we sat on her...
Oh, your close personal friend Gigi? Yeah.
The last time she very graciously invited us to sit in on her watch party stream. Yes. When she mentioned being in a room with a vat of boiling acid and Scorpius.
Oh, yes. So I never know just how much you're going to catch. It's sort of like when adults are having a conversation around kids and they think, maybe they just missed that.
Well, I heard it, obviously, but it wasn't spoilerific or anything, and it was surprising.
It wasn't a name.
Exactly.
That's usually safe. So, for some reason, the Riddler, Scarran, is commanding them to stay at bay. Keep your distance, or I'll drop her in. Or
what's the plan?
What is the plan with Chiana?
All the Offworlders are still supposed to be at least in danger of being executed, but Scorpius informs Dargo that the Scarran's powers have a limited range.
He cannot damage your brain from this distance, but any closer.
There are two of us and only one of him.
Yeah, so they're going to circle
You're kind of safe at this area, but get too much closer and he can hurt you. But there's one of him and two of us, so they're trying to outflank him.
I'm still, I get that Kargan thinks that Chiana knows where Crichton is, and he's sort of tormenting and torturing her, but he's always just used his heat ray on people to torture them. That's always sort of worked. Why this whole elaborate setup where she's gagged also? How is she going to tell him?
He does say that she told him something, although I can't quite remember what it was.
She does not know Crichton's whereabouts, as I suspected.
So, get rid of her.
I believe she may have another use.
I don't even want to know.
It's a lure. Maybe it's bait to lure Crichton out.
There's lots of posturing. It's Scorpius who actually goes in on the Scarran ambassador first.
But he doesn't do very well.
No.
His legs are buckling, and the Scarran ambassador Kargan gets to be smug about the failings of this biological mistake, as he's called him.
His zappy gun cuts one of Chiana's chains so that she's now only dangling by one hand. But right in the nick of time, the cavalry in the form of John shows up with his zappy brooch. And he just starts going to town on the Scarran ambassador, who seems to be tough stuff, because he gives him a lot of that pulse pistol, and he just keeps on going.
You haven't defeated me!
Obviously not.
a little stuns, a lot kills, but it takes a very lot to take down a Scarran.
So instead, being in a foundry and all, John decides to go all Terminator 2 on him.
Yeah.
Grabs a chain, drop kicks him into the vat of boiling acid, where we get a...
It's great. Like, he sinks into the bubbles. What a world, with his one clawed hand sticking off. I almost expected him to give him a Terminator 2 thumbs up as he went under.
At least we know that Scarrans are heavier than bronze.
Oh, yeah, very good. That must be some heavy acid. I noticed that absolutely nobody's worried about splashback.
No.
They're all walking around with, like, bare arms and so, okay,
But Chiana loses their grip on the chains. Dargo does a flying leap across the acid, knocks her and himself safe of the acid.
Crichton loves it.
You're the best.
How bad man was that?
Chiana and Dargo run off to, I guess, fell a little bit more, I suppose.
Yeah, Dargo turns around to Crichton and says, "Is Scorpius dead?" And he goes, "I don't know."
So there was a whole thing with Scorpius being hot and kind of suffering
Good.
here in the...
I was worried that maybe you missed it. Yes.
No, I did. It didn't seem very relevant, but yeah, the Scarran goes, oh, well, his Scarran side craves the heat, but his Sebacean side is destroyed by it. And apparently we learned that the little glowy, twisty thing that goes directly into his brain is a cooling rod.
Tell me the rumors are true. Please tell me your search for thermic constancy is tormentful.
Cooling rod directly into the brain.
Yes,
Yeah.
so to save him from the Sebacean heat death.
I could really relate to Scorpius because I am of Irish and Indonesian descent. I have the heat tolerance of an Irish person, and I have the cold tolerance like
an Indonesian. Yes,
I'm like a hotel shower temperature knob. Like it's got to be exactly right.
Very tiny Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, so I really, really saw myself, and God, there are days when I think, okay, a nice warm jumper and a cooling rod in my brain would be a great combination.
That might be a good title for the episode. A very tiny Goldilocks zone.
Oh, God. Can you imagine what people are going to think?
Yes.
Okay, well, great. Dargo suggests, well, if he isn't dead, maybe he should be before you leave.
Yes.
And taking Chiana away, Crichton goes over to Scorpius and pushes him over the edge.
Of the vat of acid. Yeah, and at this point I'm just sitting there wondering, okay, what's his plan? Is he going to kill him, or is he going to leave him for dead? Because he doesn't seem to be willing to kill him, but he is willing to leave him.
Yeah, he shoves Scorpius over the vat of acid. We see another flashback to the Aurora chair.
Yep, and he says, "We're not friends, we're not enemies. Leave me the fuck alone," basically.
Or the next time we part, one of us will be dead.
And staggers away.
Yes, because he doesn't seem to want to kill Scorpius.
Yep.
But he trusts that... Yeah,
I mean, it's very telling that we got this flashback back to the Aurora chair.
Mm.
There are complicated relationships between abuser and abused, and the sort of power that they can exert over each other. Like, maybe you see him even staggering away, confused and in pain. Like, he doesn't even understand why he didn't kill Scorpius.
Is he hoping that he just dies of the Sebacean heat death, or is he... Yeah.
Turns out
Scorpius was faking it.
This whole time.
Yeah, he was just...
The heat doesn't bother him.
The moment that John is gone, he just stands up and does that little flick in the pool of acid.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder if it's just his suit that would...
It might be, yeah.
Well, okay, so we know that the Scarran went into the acid and was dissolved by it.
Yes.
But, I mean, his face looked sort of okay. So maybe he was only harmed by the acid because he had a hole punctured in his chest by the many blasts of the...
Could be. We don't know. It's like...
Set phaser to fun.
That kind of wraps up that storyline, I suppose.
But we're still in the sort of line of royal succession. The Empress circles John. John's back in his coat.
Yes, John is like, I'm not going back to a statue.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I want to leave. She does not approve and informs him that he's the father.
Yep.
What the hell are you talking about?
My daughter is pregnant with your seed.
How? Whoa, how? No, we never...
Samples from the DNA comparison.
Which makes John immediately flip. Okay, make me back into a statue.
Yep.
Make me a statue.
Not a second's hesitation. He even questions, oh, you change your mind so easily?
Kid has to have two parents.
My kid
traditional, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like the kid deserves two parents.
My child deserves a father. Make me a statue.
And she respects that.
I guess he's missing his father and he doesn't want a kid of his to go without one.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because, unlike many men in science fiction, he has a very, very positive relationship with his father. He always knew that his father loved him.
Yes.
That's pretty clear anytime that you see them, or the only time you see them interacting.
And they're comfortably expressing it.
Yeah. So, yeah. She calls him an honourable man, talks to Tyno, have this honourable man converted back into the statue, and he
Tyno goes, yeah, sorry, no can do.
Actually...
I'm afraid that's impossible, Empress. Recall that Crichton is not Sebastian. Based on our findings, human physiology would not tolerate the process a second time.
What the hell are you talking about?
If you stood beneath that machine again, you would die.
Hey, Tyno, couldn't you lead with that?
Yes.
This is a whole crisis.
Yeah.
None of it is necessary. Nobody needs to be in this room. This reveal could have been an email.
But John decides that, okay, in that case, why don't
you do it?
You do it. You become the...
Just points at the nearest man.
Well, not the nearest man. There's a very good reason for choosing Tyno, because Tyno and the princess love each other. They've been dabbing a little bit behind the scenes, and they were hoping that they were going to be together after her 18th birthday or whatever birthday it is, and she was no longer eligible to become empress.
But their DNA wasn't compatible because of the poisoning, but it doesn't matter because she's already pregnant.
Yeah, and they love each other. Yes, that's the good thing. And he goes, you guys need a ruler. Nobody here has seen my face except for the 50 or so people that were present at the wedding.
Yes, I really wonder what happened, because they leave after this. What's going to happen to the other 47 people that were present?
Right.
No witnesses.
And in 80 cycles, nobody's going to remember Tyno anyway, because, wait, wasn't that the guy? Maybe they're going to do some reconstructive surgery on his face, or at least...
Tyno, you're going to have to... I'm sorry, bud, you're going to have to take this fucking pose. It's going to be awful.
The Empress agrees.
And as he's leaving, Tyno offers Crichton, would you like to see what your child looks like?
Yes.
Or, sorry, no, he talks to Katrala. Which, hey, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Why didn't anybody talk to Katrala for this whole episode?
Well, Katrala is... Oh, yeah.
She's a statue, but you've got the headsets. They're trying to find... Okay, who stole the head? Ask Katrala. She was fucking there.
Oh, very good point.
Right?
I missed that completely. Yeah, that's a bit of a plot hole right there. It's she could have told that it was the ambassador, it was her brother, that everybody... This could have
she
all
was
been...
a witness.
Yes.
Again, this could have all been an email.
Wow, yes. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. Damn.
But okay, so finally someone decides to talk to her. First it's Crichton to ask, hey, you cool with this? She goes, yeah, works for me.
Yeah.
What do you say? Does this work for you?
Yes, thank you.
And then it's Tyno who says, the princess would like to know if you'd like to see your daughter.
Yes, the machine shows him the kid, so it's a different kid this time than the first time, because the first one was a boy and now it's a girl.
Yeah. Are you my daddy?
It seems to be a pre-programmed thing, because wasn't that what the other kid said as well?
Yep.
But he says, yes, and I love you, daddy, and...
It's really sweet. It's just an illusion.
He gets to see the daughter he never will.
And he manages to keep it together. He gives Katrala a squeeze on the shoulder.
You take care of my little girl.
And walks out before, I guess, he bursts into tears.
Yes, leaving everybody behind, because next we are on Moya, where we're having a shower scene between Chiana and Dargo.
Yeah. She's behind a screen,
yes,
but there's a lot of steam coming from behind it.
And there's literally an IKEA shower head hanging on the wall there.
Oh, yes.
It's just
yes, we remember those from Exodus from Genesis. So it's Chiana and Dargo. Dargo is naked.
Yes.
We actually see his shoulders for the first time.
Oh, yeah, he's got his cool tattoo there as well.
Did you doubt that the rest of his body was also covered in tattoos?
No, of course not.
And Chiana is great.
Yes.
She says she's proud of him. He's proud of her.
You handled yourself well.
Well, you handled me so well, too.
And he's in the slumps because he's feeling bad for John, who never gets to see his daughter, and that makes him feel about how he's worried about not getting to see his son again.
It hits home, says Chiana. They're so great. She's taking very good care of him.
Yes, I love how Chiana is the emotional support person that... I guess that was Zahn's job at first, but Chiana seems to be much better at it than Zahn is. Zahn is more the religious and the more mental grown-up thing, and Chiana is more the emotional support, I suppose.
Zahn just wants to be in the room where the crises are happening,
yes,
and she actually wants to help resolve them. I guess this is why Zahn and Chi don't get on very well.
I suppose that makes sense, yeah. She wraps herself in one of the skin flakes as a temporary dress or towel. Or...
Yeah, it is still cable television. She plays with Dargo's tentacles. She's very sweet and gentle to him.
Yes, and then we have the final scene, which we already talked about, with
John and
Erin sharing their kiss and sharing the smile.
So this last scene and the very first scene, both of them in the maintenance bay, those were the first to be written.
Okay.
Said David Kemper. I wrote those first. That was going to be the whole part, and then the rest was all just
going
filling in.
to work towards that.
Yeah, how do you get from where they were actually passionately kissing and then ejecting the canopy?
Yeah.
She's terrified. He's frustrated. They're both immature in their own ways. And how can they meet? Where can they find each other? And I think it's brilliant. It's still in a place of uncertainty. Both of them have matured through their experiences. Both of them have been like confronted with flaws that they were carrying with them. And they try this. Like, it's not about their feelings for each other.
No.
It's about their like future potential and all these other aspects that come from a more serious kind of relationship. Wanting family, raising children.
I guess that, the whole genetic compatibility makes it very clear that that's the point where they're working towards.
Yeah. Which is a bit heteronormative and focusing on reproduction, which is not everybody's, is not the focus of every relationship.
But we see that in the relationship between Chiana and Dargo, who, okay, we're not compatible, we know that, but that's not what this is about.
And also between Katrala and Tyno.
Yes.
They're going to raise their child, whoever was the donor of the other chromosome.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so it's hard for this to be like a fun-filled thing because I just really liked it.
Yeah, it was a great episode. It really tied the last two together. It was a little bit talky, especially the scenes with...
I like those.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
All right.
It was good.
Willies and Woodies.
All right.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
My Woody goes undoubtedly to Crichton's decision to cede to Tylo.
Oh,
I love that scene. I thought that was I thought that was amazing. How he goes, okay, I want the best for mostly my kid,
and he gives my child a good father, and they love each other.
Yep.
And this is it, and I'm going to cede all my power and responsibility because he can't wait for 80 cycles to get around, and he knows that Tylo and the princess have been getting it on for each other, and that they will be a good match in that regard.
Does he know that?
I think he does.
Oh yes, Katrala confides in him.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was Erin who spied on them in the Garden of Betrayal, which nothing came of that.
No.
It's just mostly for us to see. Yeah, I mean, there is a cynical reading of that scene where he goes, well, okay, my kid deserves this. I can't give it to you. You do it.
Yeah.
Tag. You touched it last. No, wow. That's a really good wood. What a lovely Woody you've got this week. Gosh.
Ooh, was there any willies for me?
Oh, interesting.
None of them really jumped out at me. I mean, maybe the whole thing with everybody always conveniently ending up in the acid vat foundry or something. That was a bit weak. But other than that, there was nothing that really jumped out at me for being really out of place or anything like that. Although I would have to admit now that missing the whole plot line where the princess can tell everybody exactly what happened, including everybody's plans, which they... talked about at length.
Presence, yes, she's got ears. She can see everything this whole time.
Every word. The acoustics of this chamber funnel all sound.
Yes, that's a bit of a shower thought plot hole afterwards.
Oops.
Yeah.
Okay, it's tricky because I want to give my willy to the one night stand between Crichton and Genevian, but it's not that bad, I guess. Especially because for both of them, it was a one-night stand.
Right.
It was like she's a peacekeeper. She knows about recreation.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Very much so, yeah.
Yeah. That's totally in her mode, and she's very pleased that that's the resolution for him as well.
It might be the thing for him that he gets to learn that it is, in fact, Erin that he wants and not just some other hot, fit Sebastian
And not
woman.
just sex,
yeah.
also.
Yeah, could be.
That's a really good point. So, yeah, I'm not going to give that my willy. Actually, they're probably both going to go to the foundry scenes because there is... Okay, Willy, there's no reason for that to exist.
No.
There's no reason for royalty to have access to it.
Just a room with a boiling vat of acid and lots of chains hanging over it and flames in the background.
Yes, but Woody It's awesome.
It is very Batmanish, though, as John manages to point out.
Like Willie doing swinging on a chain to kick someone into the vat of acid. This is a really bad plan. Woody, it's awesome.
Yes.
Willie, the Scarron's plan to hang Gianna up on chains makes no sense. Woody, it's still awesome.
I guess she got to show off a little bit more trapezoid work there.
Okay, shall we do the naming of the episode? We haven't done that one in a while.
Oh, we already had a suggestion or two, I believe.
Yes, I don't know that I really want to go.
A very small Goldilocks zone.
It's wearing on me. Actually, I think no, we have to do something else because I've written down head puns, and we have done 0.
Okay,
predicting that. I bet we're going to do a lot of head puns.
Don't
lose your head. Getting ahead in life.
Yes, taking some head, giving. There was no heads were given to anybody at any point.
That was the last episode with Darko and Chiana.
Oh yes.
I mean, we're basically
heading onwards.
Head of the family.
Head of the family. Oh,
head of the royal family.
Head of the dynasty.
Oh yes, that's the one. yes, nailed it. And that's the story so far, Farscape.
We will see you next week with episode 214, Beware of Dog, in which there was an old woman who swallowed a fly. And what do you send after a parasite? That's right, an adorable, wobbling little chicken tandoori. But you won't like him when he's hungry.
Yes.
Okay.
You can find us at SoFarscape on Twitter and Facebook, sofarscape.com. If you want to chip in, you can support us on patreon.com/SoFarscape. Actually, we have new links.
We do.
So if you want to submit your own synopsis for any of these upcoming episodes, you can do that at sofarscape.com/submit.
It has to be absolutely accurate and completely useless at the same time.
Yeah, good luck trying to describe these episodes without using character names. But man, everybody's been stepping up to the plate. I'm so excited to see what people bring. And the Patreon link is also sofarscape.com/support. We actually have a few new subscribers to our Patreon.
Thank you so much and welcome to you all. First of all, Horsebird.
I think maybe that's supposed to be Horsebird. Maybe I made a little typo.
Okay, Horsebird.
Welcome.
You can't really tell these days.
I know. Welcome, Chris. Thank you so much for your contribution.
And a big thank you to John as well. Thank you so much for joining the family.
And please enjoy all the GIFs and the fan fictions and the very, very stupid bonuses that are available to everyone.
And to all of our existing patrons, a big thank you as well.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.